Hello, everybody. Welcome to this edition of Ahead of the Curve. I'm David Thomas, and with me I have Mr. Josh Blevins. Josh, it's good to sit down with you today.
Yeah, good to be here with you, David.
All right. I know you've been doing some research and have been following a situation that's been developing over the last little bit. And I know our city council, or actually our planning commission, is going to have to deal with this situation. It's a project out on 41A called Remington Farms. What can you tell us about that? Give us a little bit of the data that you have so far.
Yeah, David. Yeah, I went to a neighborhood meeting with a developer. I want to say it was last Thursday. It's a Steve Knox out of Murfreesboro, and there's a piece of property there. It's often called the swing property. Anyone that's local would know it as the swing property. It's right behind Jostens on 41A, and it's 158 acres. And the proposal is to turn that into a PUD, which is a planned unit development of 715 residential units. 10 acres would be commercial at the front, which is they're going to call it commercial. They don't have a plan for it. They don't have a tenant. They don't even have a building design for the commercial. But in order to use the mixed use buzzword for the development, they've got that commercial, and then you've got 148 acres behind that. And the biggest concern as a neighbor, my property butts right up to this piece of property, is that the front section of this will be townhomes. I believe the number is 34 acres or so of townhomes, and total density in this piece of property would be right at 2,000 people when it's all said and done.
2,000 people on 148 acres.
148 acres, 2,000 people. Of course, their arguments will be this: they're not going to wave a magic wand. They're not all going to appear overnight.
Right,
this is 10 or 15 years down the road before they're going to be done. But at the end of the day, when the 10 or 15 years are done, you got 2,000 people here.
And the biggest concern immediately that rattles my cage is the water issue that we've talked about already. You sit down with Mr. Waleed a couple of weeks ago and was talking about that issue. So that's a concern. You got to think about the traffic. You got to think the stress on infrastructure in general.
Right. Yeah. They're in Union Station where I'm at, which we are the farthest out on the west side of the city. We're the last piece of city property. And last winter, as a lot of people remember, we had a couple cold days there. I think it was around Christmas time. And finally, we got to rolling blackouts with TVA.
Right.
But even prior to the rolling blackouts, Shelbyville Power struggled to keep our neighborhood in power. We had about a 24-hour period where our power would go off and on throughout the whole day.
Right.
And everybody's compressor would kick in to start their heat because the power had been off for 2 hours, and immediately the grid couldn't handle it, and the whole neighborhood went down again.
Okay, so has that specific issue been addressed by the developer or by anybody that is familiar with this? Has that even been brought up at this point?
They'll tell us at planning, and I'm good friends with the planning guys. Are great guys, and they meet with Shelbyville Power all the time. And all these developments, they sit down and they say, we've got the capacity, we've got the power, we've got the water. They don't let them go through if they don't think they have the capacity.
Okay, so the issue that you're in Union Station exists, though.
Right.
It happened last year. So has that been corrected for you guys?
We're hoping so. I guess we'll find out this winter if we have some more cold days.
Okay.
The argument, that I've heard about that from some people who, argue the point on the developer side is those were very unusually cold weather, and it was a statewide issue.
Well, yeah, it was. It was.
Still, it doesn't make you feel good that they're going to throw anher 700 houses between you and the power station.
That's not good.
Keep them running too.
Sounds like you would be the last one.
We'd be the last one. We're literally the end of the line there.
All right.
We're the end of city services on the west.
Okay. So. Obvious problem that I see. I grew up in that area of town.
Right.
And even back in the 70s and 80s and 90s, there was a traffic flow issue coming from the Cloverdale Road area, Fairlane area, and then everybody coming into town from Unionville, especially in the mornings, going to school.
Yep.
You would have a flow coming in, and of course you had Jostens there, which was bigger at that time, had a bigger workforce, so you had it going both ways.
Yeah.
So the traffic issue already is a problem.
It is a problem. It's a problem going both directions, pulling out of our neighborhood. If you want to turn left and had people that work in Franklin and Brentwood and that thing, you could wait a long time in the morning. And then the other issue we've had, people turning right, which should be an easy turn, It's actually it's a dashed line there, a passing zone there in front of Brad's Market. We've had at least 2 different people in the neighborhood who've actually been hit head on turning right by somebody passing, coming across. And honestly, I was making a left turn into our neighborhood about 2 weeks ago. And usually people get, they get in a hurry and they pass you on the right on the the side of the road. I had some guy pass me on the left. I've got my left blinker on. He's in a hurry. It's a passing zone. He passed me on the left. If I hadn't seen him, he would have driven into my driver's door. So, So definitely traffic is something, that will need to be addressed with this development. But the biggest thing, for me personally, and I did a Facebook post and a lot of people may have seen it, is just overall this density isn't needed in Shelbyville. We're not Murfreesboro. We're not Nashville. We're not running out of land or property. In Murfreesboro, they're running out of places to build in parts of the city. We've got what's called an urban growth, I believe it's called an urban growth boundary, which you can find on the map. It's on the city website. We've got hundreds, if not thousands of acres outside the city limits that can be annexed over time and brought into the city, fed with city services, have developments put on them. We don't need to put a Murfreesboro density development in Shelbyville right now, and hopefully not ever, but definitely at this point in time.
Right. Well, let's talk about how somebody can get involved in voicing their concerns. I know there is a planning commission meeting. When is that? On the 28th?
Planning commission is meeting December 28th. That's a Thursday evening at 6:00. They're at their, if you've not been to planning commission, they're in their new location. They're, what is that called? That's Cannon.
The old Chamber of Commerce.
Old Chamber of Commerce building. I think it's 100 North Cannon might be the address.
Right across the street from the dinner table.
Right across the street from the dinner table. If you know where the dinner table is, they're right across the street.
So that would be a good time. Go to the dinner table, grab a bite, then come across the street and voice your concerns.
Right. Yeah. It's at 6:00. Every meeting in the state now that's a public meeting like this, you're allowed to, there's a time period at the beginning. All you got to do is sign your name on a sheet of paper. You can stand up for up to 3 minutes and just let the people on the commission know how you feel about it.
Right.
Whether, and you may be for it. If you're for it, come on out and, speak for the, for the development. But,
I think it's good for people to get out and voice their concerns. This is their opportunity.
Oh, absolutely. And a lot of people have commented on the Facebook post and have said this and that, but the planning commission isn't going on Facebook and reading your likes or your dislikes.
No.
If you're not at the meeting, they don't know how you feel.
Right. Well, this is a great opportunity for everybody to get out that's in that area, or maybe you're not and you travel through that area and you want to voice your concerns about traffic, about electricity, about water, about all these issues that are coming up with this particular development and others. Now's the opportunity, the 28th at 6 p.m.
6 p.m.
Old Chamber of Commerce building across from the dinner table.
Right.
We encourage everybody to get out that would like to give their opinion and give their feelings on this. And Josh, thanks for sitting down and going over this. And we want to thank Norris Plumbing here in Shelbyville. Phone number 931-703-5915. We thank them for sponsoring Ahead of the Curve. And we'll be back again real soon. Thanks, Josh.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah.